Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and the Pokeforce forums officially recently opened. We have some more big news. Just a gameplay FAQ, but just a gameplay FAQ doesn't really do this justice. We have information on the mobile client, we have information on the shiny rate of Pokeforce and what it will be, including a pity system, which I think is pretty complicated and pretty, like a pretty well done pity system if you're going to do a pity system. So we'll go ahead and talk about it. Let's jump into Pokeforce, the gameplay FAQ posted by Alicia. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get to reading. Hello, Pokeforce. There's obviously been a lot of questions regarding what is coming to the game and other various questions I'd like to answer here. This list will periodically update as we move forward, so keep an eye on it. That's an interesting thing for me to take note of. Will there be a mobile client? Yes, we plan on having an Android client closer to launch, and we'll have an iOS side-loaded app further down the road, very similar to PokeMMO production. Our focus right now is on the desktop client while we ensure that our gameplay systems are up to scratch. I like this. A lot of people clamor and ask for a mobile client ASAP for games, but in my opinion, it's just not worth it. Like I would focus on making sure the game is actually good and focusing on the main gameplay experience before worrying about a port. And then once you have that product polished up and cleaned up, then you can output it to the masses. If you output it to the masses when it's not polished up, people are going to try it, be like, this isn't great, put it down, never pick it back up. So I think it's better to wait on a mobile client, although there's a lot of pressure about them asking for it. So let's continue. When can I play Pokeforce? Right now we have 2 demos planned, one for Christmas, December 22nd to December 26th, and one for January 18th to the 21st, 2023. I guess this is, well, to be fair, this is 2024. That very slight change, but should be adjusted, I guess. The Christmas demo is focused purely on the Christmas event that will see you earn a very rare Santa hat that will be attached to your account and obtainable at launch. Keep an eye on that, fellas. I like how they're giving you the demos currently. They're going to wipe your accounts in progress and everything after, except for niche stuff like this. So if you play these demos and you earn the, with the Christmas event specifically, you can earn a very rare, probably like pre-alpha, pre-beta Pokeforce vanity. You always want to get in. If Pokeforce ends up becoming anything one day, anything, any day, I promise you, if the Sand Hat is tradable, it'll be worth so much, Pokeyen. It's always good to pick up and be aware of these games when they're in their early stages, but don't get too, hyped up. Like, things can fail. More games fail than not. So let's continue on. The January demo will be focused on showcasing our battle system and other various improvements to the game. Otherwise, you may participate in our frequent burst tests that are used to improve and test the code that need multiple people to test. You can find more information in their Discord. Their Discord, they will ping you for burst tests and whatever the heck's going on. The Discord pings are fantastic. You need to sign up for them, which is nice. I hate when you join a Discord and it like pings you a shit ton automatically without you even signing up for anything. So I'm a fan of that. Are our forum accounts the same as our in-game accounts? Yes, the usernames created on our forums will indeed be your in-game accounts as well. We have a lot of authentication, including ensuring all your badges that will be applied to your account upon launch. Did you receive a special demo ticket? This will be applied to your trainer card on launch. That's awesome. How many generations will Pokeforce have on launch? Now, this is kind of confusing. I pre-read this a little bit. Pokeforce will feature a mix of all of the popular ones. Our Pokemon pool will initially be Generation 4. Now, I'm hoping this means Gen 1 through 4, not just Generation 4, but I think it might just be Generation 4. Our data and sprites will be Generation 5. And here we see where it's already getting weird. Gen 4 Pokemon with Gen 4 sprites. Okay, sure. And our tile sets will feature custom and Generation 3. So they're like maps, I assume, and like the buildings and like what they look like and stuff. So I think Generation 3, like Fire Red has some great buildings and has some great, I like that for the tile sets, of course. But yeah, just a weird mix of things. As you can see, Generation 4 Pokemon, Generation 5 sprites, Generation 3 tiles. An interesting choice, but I think it'll create for a unique experience that I'm excited to try out. What regions will Pokeforce have? This is a fun one. We'll feature Johto as our first region, but it has been heavily customized in our own imagination for an MMORPG. Our stories will be completely custom, and our own version of Johto will reflect that. We have a lot of cool stuff planned for our maps, so it'll feel fresh yet familiar to you all. What about battle mechanics? Pokeforce will feature Gen 7 battle mechanics, so fairy types are going to be in the game from the get-go. We don't plan on initially including Mega or Z moves. We do plan to support them eventually. When is launch? Launch does not have a confirmed date yet, but we're pushing for a late 2024, which makes a lot of sense. Around a year is kind of what I would have been guesstimating. We're trying to mitigate this wait by having periodic demos and tests, though. What are classes / skills? Don't get me all worked up. We've seen a lot of questions regarding the differences between classes and skills, so let me help. Skills are universal ways to interact with the world. They'll feature things like mining, fishing, or foraging. These can be trained by anyone and will have an impact on the economy on a global scale. Classes are story specific and are not changeable once you've selected your class. Classes will mostly feature unique story boosts and ways to interact with the world. Dude, that's going to be... Having alt accounts that are different classes to support your main class character, there's so many complicated like factors that could weigh into this. I'm really curious with something like a class system. I'm really curious how multi-boxing will work, or if multi-boxing will be allowed. Obviously in PokeMMO, multi-boxing, shadow boxing, multi-logging, whatever you want to call it, playing 2 accounts on the same device is not allowed within PokeMMO. With something like a class system, it makes it even more important that that kind of thing is allowed in Pokeforce. But I'm curious if they'll be able to combat bots with that, if they just will have to call it. Maybe like if it becomes super meta to have 2 different classes in a situation, you might need 2 devices. I could see that being really, really cool, but also really kind of a tough barrier to entry, or a tough requirement to like play super efficiently. But that is super interesting. What is trainer rank? The trainer rank is our way of giving you progression for completing quests, events, and more. It will dictate your overall progress through the game and allow things to open up, such as scaling with gyms or trainers or starting specific quests. Basically just an overall leveling system. It seems like your trainer, you get stuff for storylines, you scale your max obedience stuff for gyms and trainers. It seems this is a very light example, kind of what and a bunch of other Pokemon MMOs have tried this or have done this. It can be a cool thing. It can be a little annoying, but it can be a cool thing. I think it's mostly just a good thing. This could be done well or could be done bad. We'll just have to see. But let's move on to the most important topic here. The shiny rate, okay? What will the shiny rate be? Our finalized shiny rate has been locked in. The final rate will be 1 out of 20,480. This is a very reasonable shiny rate, a very fair number, and will feature a pity system. Now, another question becomes, if they're having Gen 7, with all these mechanical things, they mentioned Gen 4 Pokemon. I'm so curious, will Hordes exist in this game or not? If Hordes exist, I could see this being a pretty low rate. I don't know though. We'll have to see. Dude, there's so much we'll have to just see. We'll have to see. We don't know how many encounters per hour are going to be able to be achieved yet in Pokeforce, and that's going to dictate everything. The pity system will decrease the overall rate as opposed to instantly giving you the shiny. As an example, if you were to encounter 500 Pikachu, the system will start scaling down the overall rate to where it would become 1 out of 20,230. Now, the thing is, how fast? That's a crazy fast. It starts scaling down so fast is what's interesting to me, as opposed to once you reach the rate, like the 1 out of 20,000, it starts scaling down. Then it just starts scaling down from the get-go. So I would argue the shiny rate doesn't actually end up being this in practice, and like most shiny hunts. It is species dependent, which I think is really interesting. I'm a little worried that this number could be too low, but at the same time, it really comes down. We just don't know yet. It comes down to hordes. It comes down to your ability to encounter Pokemon. It comes down to the battle speeds. It comes down to a lot of things. It comes down to your encounters per hour, and I just have no idea how many encounters you can actually get per hour and what are the methods in Pokeforce. So we'll have to see. But it's scaling down from the get-go. 500 Pikachu encountered, making your rate 1 out of 20,230 is pretty interesting, pretty aggressive for a pity system, but it could work. We just don't know yet. The pity system works on specific Pokemon. So, for example, encountering 500 Pikachu increases the odds to encounter a shiny Pikachu, but will not affect the odds for a shiny Pidgey unless you have encountered Pidgeys. Boosts will be available through gameplay and donations, similar to Pokemon. That's fine. The fact that there is a pity system plus availability for boosts, a lot of this to me screams that their shiny rate is going to be, well, obviously it's going to be significantly easier than PokeMMO, and that's okay. I think there's a good middle ground. There's a good desirability and a good need for a good Pokemon MMO that where the shinies aren't quite as rare as PokeMMO, but they're still like pretty rare. I think this is like a good middle ground. Like, I like stuff like this. I don't want them to copy PokeMMO in every single aspect. I don't want that. I think that creates for a non-interesting, non-unique experience. It's better to have like 3 Pokemon MMOs that are similar in important ways, but different in other ways, that allow reasons to go play those games. I was talking about like PBO, like Pokemon Blaze Online, is a game that's like, it's not a perfect Pokemon MMO, but it's unique and interesting, and I think there's a reason to go play it because it's so different from all the other Pokemon MMOs. I'm really excited for what Pokeforce does. I'm really excited for what's to come. This shiny rate, the shiny system could worry me a bit. It could be it could be way too easy, but it's just gonna, like, with the boosts and the hitty rate and stuff. But we'll have to see. We will have to see. If there's like no hordes, if it's only single encounters, I could see this being totally good. Totally. It just depends on how many encounters you're able to get per hour and the methods of encountering. But that is it. That's the overall FAQ, the general gameplay stuff coming to Pokeforce. We covered the mobile client. We covered the upcoming tests. We covered the limited vanity that you'll be able to get for Christmas. We covered what else? There's all tons of crazy stuff. Classes and skills, trainer rank, shiny rates. A lot of big information in this. So if you want to stay up to date on Pokeforce stuff, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more news and updates on it, join their Discord and stuff. And that should be it for me. Like the video if you enjoyed it, dislike if not, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications to never miss out on Pokeforce stuff. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel, allow me to keep you guys updated on news and stuff, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, PayPal and Venmo donations do go a very long way. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. I'll see you guys later, and hopefully I'll see you playing Pokeforce around December.